Hey everybody, Arkin 40 here for Dock Life USA. Check it out. Getting ready for the boat show this weekend. It's Tuesday. We're quite early, and they've done a nice job organizing everything. Here is an Azimut S55 or S8. Here's a World Cat. Nice boat. Look at this. I mean, these things are super. The insides are nice. Nice lounging area. Look how nice and flat the front is. You could pull up to any dock or another boat. Here's a Riviera 2009 coupe. Look at that. 679,000. It's one of the least expensive boats here. Can you imagine that? They'll put that into perspective. $679,000 asking, and even if it sells for $625,000. Let's not compare these things to houses because it doesn't make any sense, right? But it's a boat and it's its own power plant. It's its own building, really. It's got a generator, it's got everything you could want, but it is 13 years old, so you got to think about that. Well, just when you start trying to see if that makes sense, come on over here. Look at these babies. Those are super yachts, and of course there's the next stop up is a mega yacht. There aren't any of those here. And this is a Belize, I believe this is relatively new, if not brand new. It's 66 foot, starting at 4.999. So basically $5 million starting. Now, think about it. It's $5 million, and then you got to start adding everything that you want extra. Look at that walkway, how beautiful that is. Just right along the side of the boat. Look at so much stainless steel. Shines. I mean, I'd have to have a crew on here just cleaning that every day. Once that salt hits it, it's a challenge that it's a fight that never ends. You know, that hull is going to have to be kept up with. And remember, now $5 million and 10% to run the boat, you're looking at $500,000 a year just to maintain it. That's no trips, no fuel, nothing. Just to keep the boat up, the bottom cleaning, docking it. I mean, just the storing of a boat like this is approximately $3,300 to $3,500 a month. As we come along here, we see again, this is Three Wishes, the 2009 Riviera. Beautiful boat. This Regal has always been one of my favorites. It's a 53-foot sport coupe. They couldn't get this to work. For some reason, I think it's top heavy. I mean, look at how narrow this is. That's a pretty narrow swim platform for a 53-foot boat. My goodness. I mean, here's a, 55, 58 foot maybe? Look at the swim platform on that. And these all have submergible swim platforms, or this one I don't believe is, and I wouldn't recommend it. Now this opens up, which means it's got pods. I'm totally against pods. If you ask enough people, you'd be surprised how many people will tell you absolutely no to pods, or they love it. First of all, if they love it, they were talked into it. And if they have one, they probably are having a good experience with it because it's supposed to be, you know, fuel efficient. Is that really an issue at this level? But, you know, they're hoping because they know they've heard all the horror stories. The boat's got to come out every year to keep up with it. It requires so much maintenance if you don't mess anything up. Then if you run aground, you really have a problem. That's when the hell starts. I wouldn't touch it. I'm all for straight shafts. But it's a pretty looking boat, but you only have one side for lights, not both sides. All right, let's move on. Here is another Riviera, beautiful boat. I think they're asking like 1.4 for this one. These are all used. And here is a Prestige, 59. So you got, this is a 60-foot boat. Big boat, you get a lot for your money, but in my opinion, they're not exactly the best built boats. Then you got your budget line in the Regals, and that's what they used to say forever. But I got to tell you, if you've looked at Regals recently, they've come a long way. I think they're one of the most beautiful boats out there. I'm not happy with quality boats. I mean, there's no secret. I had somebody going to buy my boat, and I I said, you get to go on these nice trips with the people at Regal. They send these groups out, and you can probably join them and go on a nice ride. They flat out told him that they wouldn't do it. It's only for the original owner of the boat, which means if I'm not on the trip, they can't go. Well, I lost that deal because of quality. So I was extremely happy with quality. I used to support anything and everything that they did because of how well I thought their product performed, how nicely they treated people. But you find out about people when something doesn't go well. Well, when that happened, I was really disappointed. And, they had a pretty too bad attitude. Well, okay. You move on, but you don't forget it. There's two kinds of experiences people never forget: exceptional and horrible. Sorry to say, they went down the wrong road, but I wouldn't buy a boat from them again. That's just not how you treat people. They roll out such a carpet, the red carpet, when you're buying a boat. But let me tell you, once you get the boat, that's not what you get. You go out to a lot of these marinas, like, I'm not going to mention names because I'm here, but you're not exactly treated with a welcome feeling, because these boats are big. They've got to have space for you. And if not, you're going to pay for it. And, some places are more accommodating than others. Now, most of the marinas I've been to have been outstanding. I got to say, I'm just disappointed with the way things have been handled here at Marina Jack's. I wish it was better. I keep hoping for better, but it is what it is. So you're going to deal with a lot of resistance when you have boats this big. And keep in mind, whatever the price is of the boat, you got to factor approximately 10% of that for your maintenance on a boat. Just from keeping the boat in a slip is going to run you between $2,000 and $3,000 a month when you get into boats that big. Maybe $1,500 on the low side. If you have a house that's on the water, keep in mind when you look at your mortgage payment, if you can factor in what you're going to save in docking, put that towards your mortgage, and you'll have your boat in your backyard. So again, these are beautiful boats, and the Regal is a beautiful boat, and it's a great family out of Orlando that builds them. Really super, and they stand behind their product. Again, I didn't have any problem until they did this with that one salesperson, and when I brought it to the manager's attention, nothing was done about it. They put on a nice show when they're selling a boat, but after it's all done, everybody goes back to the grind, right? They're hustling to get their boats. You'll find that it can be very ugly, and the mood and aura changes really quick. That's what it is. And but the boat shows are a lot of fun, and when you get a boat, it's a really happy moment. I'll tell you who's wonderful is Galati. I bought my boat from Galati, and they've been nothing but gentlemen and pleasant, helpful, even to this day. Anytime I'm at a boat show, they make sure I'm covered, make sure I'm invited to whatever's going on. They've always offered. As a matter of fact, I needed my boat taken out one day of the water, and I couldn't find anyone because it was right after a hurricane, and they made it happen for me. That's a quality operation. I mean, I would hope to buy any boat I ever get from Galati. I might be a Princess one day, but for the most part, I bought my boat. It was a Carver, and I just thought it was a knockaround. They weren't known to be the best boats, but then again, I found that some of the boats are spectacular, and then other boats are just a wreck because of the way they've been taken care of or neglected. So it's like anything else. If you take care of it, you should have a good experience. One of the things I'll tell anyone that's buying a boat, you're buying an engine, in this case, 2 engines. And that's what you're going to have to rely on. So all the rest of the stuff, a hull's a hull, a boat's a boat. Now, there's beautiful finishes. The Rivieras are spectacular. Princess, spectacular. Prestige, not so much. This is all my opinion now. And then when it comes time to look at what kind of power you want, always get more power than you need. My boat's underpowered, so I'm having that taken care of. But you need a boat that should have more than you need so you can comfortably run the boat and not have to have it sweating to keep up. If you have any questions, please put them on here. I put on 2,800 hours In the 5 years I've owned the boat, I'm out almost every day on it. I really enjoy it a lot. I can tell you, I've met some really wonderful people at the docks. I mean, some of the places are great. Some of the dock hands at Marina Jacks are wonderful. The guys down in Venice couldn't be nicer. Longboat Key Club moorings, outstanding, if not the best. St. Pete, the Vinoy, those two, Lonnie and Earl, terrific guys. One of the best, if not the, in that area. This is the Regal 42. This was a boat that I really liked back in the day when it came out. But it's a little narrow, and I think they price themselves out of reality. It's like 1.2 million. I'm sorry, Regal doesn't carry that kind of a name just yet, but they're getting there. Everything is a little on the thin and flimsy side, but it's a good boat. I mean, it's a lot of boat for the. It used to be a lot for the money. Now it's not the case anymore because they've raised the prices so much. Look at the top. See, like for example, that Bimini is. They make it so you can take it down quick, and you can see that the radar flips down as well quickly, so you can get under bridges. So good thinking there. They were, I believe, the first ones with the outboards. So an outboard on a yacht was unheard of until Regal. So kudos to them on that. I'm not a fan of colored hulls, especially in the 42 range. This is usually more of the novice that's driving this. And, every time you you ding something, it's going to show up huge against color. If you can see the seats, I don't care for that one bit. Things will be flying off the back of that boat, and they'll be, wedged up underneath there. You want to have a solid wraparound, I think, in the back because, when you get underway, this boat runs over 50 miles an hour. You don't want to start losing stuff. And then, of course, with 3 engines outside, that's going to be loud. And don't kid yourself, this is not a boat that's easy to maintain because they're outboards. A lot of people don't want to work on them because their tools could fall into the water, and now you got to get a diver. So I prefer an inboard diesel. I mean, the fuel cost. I couldn't even imagine what that's going to run on these. They're beautiful, but 425, 850, and another 4, you got 1,1300 horsepower. So there's the rest of the Regal. And again, I think the Regal's done a wonderful job. They're about as good as they get. And just watch the pricing. Things are getting back down to normal and back down to reality. And for the most part, I don't think that there's a bad line out there. There's one or two that I don't think very much of, and I'm not here to take shots at them. I'm just telling you what my experiences were, and my experience with the Regal was good. It ran. I put 1,000 hours on it in three years, three and a half years, 1,000 hours. We had some problem with the workmanship on the interior, but you know what? Regal took care of everything, no question. Anything that happened, they took care of it. So remember, you're buying an engine. The generator, they really tried to put too much on that boat because they had a generator on a 28. That's really tight. It was what was it, Westerbeek, and it was the smallest one they make. And unfortunately, Regal didn't design it properly to fit into that boat. The intake, I don't remember the term. Please forgive me. I don't remember what they call it, but it's got to be able to suck water in. And if that's not below the water line and it gets air, it's going to shut down. So it was constantly shutting down when I was underway. And before you say, well, if you're underway while you're having your air conditioning on, well, sometimes you have people on the boat, it's really hot out, or even when you're going slow, if some of that air hits in there, it's going to shut off. So it's something to think about there. Again, this is my favorite, this Belize. I mean, Riviera is a top-notch company. They are outstanding. I like One Water Group. I wouldn't buy a Riviera from anyone else on this coast. I prefer One Water Group. They're just a phenomenal group of people there. And and watch the egos too. When you see these guys coming out to sell these boats, they're just selling a boat. At the end of the day, people have made significant sacrifices in their lives to be able to afford this, or maybe they just had a huge deal that came through. Whatever it is, it's a dream boat for many people. So it's important that they're treated as such, because there are a lot of choices when you want to spend that kind of money on a boat. I didn't see this other boat that's over here. Well, this one here, the Determination, has been a staple here for a long time. This is a 2000, I think it's a 2008. But you know, whether it's an 8 or a 12, it doesn't matter. It's a hull, it's beautiful. They've had it meticulously maintained. And when you get a boat this big, it's a mini ship. I mean, for Pete's sake, this is huge. You're not driving this in most cases. Look at how big it is. And it's beautiful. This guy just came in here. He's relatively new. I don't think he was in here earlier. Well, let's take a quick look. This is Pinky something, I think. Yes, it is. Here we go. So Pinky's Honors, okay. And this one here, I don't know what that is, but it's a beauty. Absolutely gorgeous. Just beautiful. And this is, I think, is this a Riviera? Maybe. But again, when you get into these ranges, you don't have a bad boat. If you want to think about what's the best boat you can get, by all means, hands down, it's the Hatteras. If you ever watched the video on how they make their hulls, it's remarkable what they do there, and how the laminate, and how many hours and repeat processes that they have. I would never trust any boat like I would trust a Hatteras. And they're for seasoned boaters. You know, you don't see many first timers or even second timers. And another boat that's spectacular are the Flemings. That's another great blue boat. They call it blue, deep blue. That means it's got a very deep hull. It can handle the ocean well, and that's a phenomenal boat too. So when you want to think about what's over the top, those are two right there. You also can consider the Vikings. Vikings and Princess are two of the in the same family. They are beautiful as well, and Vikings as good as it gets. And just Riviera is very, very, very expensive. And this Belize line, they only made a few of these, so it's very luxurious and beautiful. So I hope I gave you a nice little tour here. This is the Tuesday before the show, which begins on Friday. I hope you guys will leave me messages. Love hearing from you, and I like to keep the videos going. They're very real. I don't try to act like I know more than I do. I just share what I've seen, and many times I'm speaking to you with questions that you might be asking yourself that maybe you'd be afraid to ask other people. You can bet I'd find a way to bring it out and get an answer. So if you have any more questions, please leave me a message. Stay in touch, like and subscribe, and look forward to hearing from you. Good night, everybody.